What the scholars meant by dispraising Kalaam, rational argumentation. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Many Wahhabis will attempt to thwart your rational argumentation by telling you that what you are doing is called Kalaam, and that the scholars dispraised Kalaam. They say, the scholars of old referred to the book and the Sunnah and went no further, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions never used it. Therefore, accept what came in the book and the Sunnah and do not try to rationalize what they did not. The brief answer is that those early scholars who did not use the Kalaam to argue did not do so because of how few the misguided people were. It was enough to refer to the book and the Sunnah. However, later the misguidance spread, and the people of deviance claimed that the people of truth were using weak narrations and ambiguous verses with explanations that do not agree with the intellect. And so, the scholars refuted them with their own standard, intellectual argumentation. However, the Sunnis' argumentation was derived from the book and the Sunnah, as will be demonstrated. Someone once said to Abu Hanifa, "Why do you talk with the knowledge of Kalaam, and the companions did not talk with it?" He said, "Their example is like people who do not have in their presence those who fight them, so they did not need to wield their weapons. And our example is like those who have amongst them those who fight them, and so they had to wield their weapons." This means that they had the tools and the means, they had the same belief system, but they did not have to use argumentation often. They did use it occasionally, and the references for that are not appropriate for this summarized refutation. If a Wahhabi asks, did not a Shafi'i say for the slave to meet the judgment of Allah with every sin but shirk is better than to meet his judgment with the Kalaam? Then we say, this statement of a Shafi'i is clarified by other more specific texts, such as that he said, لَأَنْ يَلْقَ اللَّهَ الْعَبْدُ بِكُلِّ ذَنْبٍ مَا عَدَى الشِّرْكِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَنْ يَلْقَاهُ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ هَذِهِ الْأَهْوَاءِ. For the slave to be resurrected for the judgment of Allah, having every sin except shirk, is better than meeting his judgment with any hint of these deviant beliefs. This is why Al-Bayhaqi said in Manaqib al-Shafi'i, by this talk, Al-Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy upon him, only meant Hafs and his likes amongst the people of heresy. This is what he meant in all that was conveyed about him about dispraising the Kalaam and its people, except that some narrators generalized and some specified. In the specification of those who specified, there is evidence of his intent, that is, the intent of a Shafi'i. And actually, a Shafi'i debated on more than one occasion. For example, Ishaq said, "My father said to me, one day a Shafi'i was talking to one of the scholars, and he was very tight on him, precise. He sought evidence from him and put him in a corner. I said to him," that is, to a Shafi'i, "O Abu Abdillah, this is for the people of Kalaam, not for the people of Halal and Haram." So a Shafi'i said, "We have mastered that," meaning Kalaam, "before we mastered this." Also Al-Muzani said, "A debate took place between a man and me. He asked me about something, as if it were about to make me doubt about my religion. I went to a Shafi'i, and I said to him, this is what happened. A Shafi'i said to me, 'Where are you?' I said, 'I am in the masjid.' He said to me, 'You are like in the sea of Tehran, while its waves are smacking you.' This is a question of the atheists, and the answer for it is this and that. For the slave to be afflicted with every harm that Allah created is better for him than being afflicted with arguing for deviant beliefs. And this clearly proves that Ash-Shafi'i was highly skilled at intellectual argumentation and debate. And Allah the Exalted knows best.